punde inaashiria tuelekee moja kwa moja mahakamani, ambako hivi sasa tunasubiri uamuzi. Je, uamuzi huu utaweza kuafikiana alichokizungumza mkurugenzi wa mashtaka Bwana Nurdin Haji, akiwa ameomba mahakama iweze kumwondolea mashtaka naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua kwa kutokuwepo na ushahidi wa kesi ambazo kwa zinamkabili. Tusikize kwanza, alafu baadaye tukirudi nitakueleza mengi kuhusiana na mipango na utaratibu wa Sema na Citizen siku hii ya leo.
Basically in charge of conduct of all criminal proceedings in the Republic. Under Article 157(4), same Constitution, the Director of Public Prosecution has been granted powers to direct the Inspector General of the Police Service to investigate any information or allegation of criminal conduct, and the Inspector General shall comply with any such directions. It is common knowledge that DCI, that is Directorate of Criminal Investigation, is the investigative arm of the Kenya Police Service, which is led by the Inspector General of Police. The question that begs an answer at this juncture is how come in this matter the Director of Public Prosecution seemed to have acted and preferred charges based on inconclusive investigations, since they were anticipating for evidence. One cannot be faulted to infer that he acted also under pressure. One cannot be faulted to infer that he acted under pressure from his junior, the DCIO, contrary to expectations of the office. The issue of adherence to some internal policy guidelines can never be the basis to deny a citizen his liberty. There is, in my view, only one logical threshold that should be the basis of charging any citizen. That is evidentiary value. Evidence presented should be able to prove a case beyond reasonable doubt. Under Section 157(11) Constitution of Kenya, while exercising powers of his office, DPP is expected to have regard to public interest, the interest of administration of justice, and the need to prevent abuse of legal process. These proceedings are testimony to the fact that the DPP acted contrary to Article 157 in its entirety. One cannot prefer charges in anticipation of evidence, since plea taking is not a simple thing. It's not a simple event. It leads to denial of liberty, public ridicule, many a time stress, which might even lead to unnecessary loss of life. I know of people who have divorced because they took plea. It is not something simple. The decision to charge, in my view, must be exercised judiciously, sapiently, impartially, and independently. Now, I have been asked to make recommendations, and I feel obligated to do so in order to avoid a replication of the events in these proceedings in future. In my view, Parliament should consider passing the necessary legislation to establish an office of the pre-trial judge, akin to what we have in Francophone system. That office should subject activities of Director of Public Prosecution, the DCI, and any other investigating authorities as relates to intended charges to scrutiny, determine number of witnesses to be bonded based on quality of the testimony, and in fact set down the timelines of each case. Once such issues are determined, the defense should be invited and full disclosure be done before matters are forwarded for plea taking and commencement of a trial. I state so because I'm horrified to learn that we could sit here hearing matters, yet we are still fishing for evidence. We write and write and write. Yet the matter, some matters really, it would appear, have been brought probably on account of public interest. It is not fair. Or, so to say, ulterior motives. So once the office of pretrial judge establishes that there is a real likelihood that there's a, once the office of the pretrial judge establishes that there is ample evidence, of course in tandem with the other offices, chances are that plea bargain shall be the norm in this country rather than plea taking, because an accused person will actually see the evidence that is facing them, and more or less they'll just enter into plea bargain. That is what happens in countries with strong judicial systems. It is unfair, as I stated earlier, to subject officers, judicial officers, to taking lengthy notes and hearing ridiculous witnesses. Again, sorry, when we are still fishing for evidence, or rather when we know really there is no case. That particular office would eradicate the ghost of backlog in the judiciary. Again, second recommendation, this one is a personal view. We should introduction of personal, prosecutorial, and investigative liability. Investigators and prosecution counsel have played a blame game in this matter. I have heard them. They are our fellow citizens. What they are simply saying in different tones and words is that we were instructed to proceed and operate within what was at hand. Definitely, administrative action would follow if they refused to comply. However, with the introduction of personal, prosecutorial, and investigative liabilities, such officers would be able to stand firm, unshaken, and resist the devil at all times. They would say, I'll face